Yeah. Oh, I think your Johnny ain't picking up.
Huh?
Oh, okay, yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Let me say it again. Hold up. Grand Rising, man. To all, as y'all are joining, please make sure that you like. That's going to help boost the algorithm. We want to get as many people in the building as possible. Y'all know what we do. Have some real conversations, get everyone's perspective, and build on that. DK, what's the word, man? How you feeling this morning?
Man, I'm feeling good. Weather ain't too chilly today, so I think it's going to be easy to warm up this conversation. Good morning to everybody. Shout out to Sean 3002. I don't know, I feel like I've seen that name in the chat before.
Sean?
Yeah, or have we?
I'm not sure that I've seen Sean before.
Yeah, shout out to you,
Definitely.
Sean.
Always appreciate the new people, the new members to the community tapping in.
Definitely. We noticed.
We got Critical in the building, of course. Morning Hope Show is good. I have no interest in watching Nick all morning. Sheesh, you coming in with that energy already? Well, how about this, Critical? This may not be the show for you. Damn, you coming in with that energy this morning. What's up with you? You woke up on the wrong side of the bed? When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. Send that to Critical. Damn, Critical. Shit. He coming in early with the request. Shout out to Finn in the building, bright and early. Shout out to Steve. Good morning. It's going to be another great day. That's the energy that I'm on. Finn said a community's true power is born when ordinary people choose to lift each other, turning shared struggle into shared strength. Yes, definitely appreciate Finn for the good words. Man, that matters, man. When we start off the AM with the good intentions, the good reminder of what to appreciate, that always gives us the right perspective for the day. Morning, Steve. Found the Pike letter really interesting. Thanks for putting it in the Discord. I gotta check that out as well. I saw y'all going back and forth in the Discord. I saw some information being exchanged. I don't want to make it seem like it was anything. Shout out to Unk in the building. Good morning, people. Grand rising to all. The world has a lot to discuss, and we're here to discuss these important topics. Don't fall behind. Just stay in tune. Sean said, yeah, shout out to Sean. I appreciate you guys. The positivity is nice.
Absolutely.
Definitely, man. All right, so let's get into it. What we got? We got all Nick all morning.
Oh, Nick all morning.
Nick Fuentes all morning. No, I'm just joking. We got a few videos to tap into. We will tap into 2 clips of Nick's show. Shout out to John Ramirez. We will tap into 2 clips of Nick and Alex Jones, I believe they recorded either yesterday or the day before, where they were discussing certain people that now have been following them. So a new market that's been, how Nick and Alex, I guess they've been growing their numbers when it comes to the Black and brown audience. So we'll have a quick, yeah. So we have a conversation about that, and another reason why they decide to want to villainize Nick, because he's talking about this quote unquote Muslim problem. And, we've heard a lot of people, seen a lot of people that now seem to throw the Islam out there, the Muslim out there, almost to kind of punch downwards, where we're acting as if it's going to be a huge problem in America. And Nick seems to feel a different type of way. He seems to point the finger in a different direction. And
ooh.
Yeah. So we'll kind of tap into that. And then we got a bunch of other clips that we'll get into, get our feedback as always, and go from there. You got anything, Glay?
Nothing off the top of the dome. I did see Trump address the double tap situation. And I cut it on last second, so I just caught a clip, but says something on the lines like, those people can go back home if they complain, since they think they're in heaven, something like that.
The Somalians, I think.
Maybe is that what it was?
Is this Venezuela or the Somalians? I think I saw the clip that you were talking about.
Okay, it might have been Somalians. Yeah. And then he dropped the mic, like drop like they can go back to their bitch ass house or some shit like that. And then he got up and then just dapped up his man next to him, like battery in the back energy. It got up and he felt like he just really he stood on business. I could tell by the way he stood up, slow and decrepit. I know he felt like he stood on some type of business, but just another politician.
Yeah, that was Unc just said. Yeah, he's talking about the Somalians.
Somalians, that's what it was.
I didn't like that exchange.
Yeah, it was unnecessary.
Yeah, it was unnecessary, and I think that it's just everybody's trying to scare us with something. Like they're trying to scare us into supporting their ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is trying to scare us into either supporting something that he's doing, or it seems like they're trying to scare us into being distracted from what they're doing and not discussing it.
Mm-hmm.
The Somalian issue, I'll be honest, when it comes to the Somalian issue or even the Muslim issue, it's very hard for me to take people seriously who bring up those issues, but then have nothing to say about AIPAC and the influence that Israel, Zionism, and Jewish culture has on our country, on our politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just very hard for me to take people seriously. You complaining about Somalians and what they may be doing, and a lot of them moving into a particular area, that being an issue compared to people that are influencing the decisions that our government is making. It's you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I don't even give it really much time and thought. I don't really give it much time and thought. But
right.
So I want to, now that you say that, I want to show you this clip, because I do think that there are certain aspects of when people come into America, I think it's okay for Americans to, how can I put this, to expect certain people to adjust to certain cultural things that we have here. Now, that's always going to be the push and pull, because America, what is it built on in a lot of ways? It's built on incentivizing people from outside the country to come here, get a piece of this American dream. That's a big part of what has built America.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So when you have that aspect of it, do you want them to just come in and completely adopt to our culture? Are there going to be certain guidelines and restrictions to where they can, push their culture? Hey, we like embracing your culture a bit, but also you got to kind of adjust. It's always that fine line, or it seems to be that fine line, and it'll get exposed during the time right now where they are trying to use the fear mongering. But I do think that a lot of people do come here and don't respect American values and don't respect the country and want to use America rather than to contribute to America. And obviously, when it comes to actual Americans, that could be offensive, and that could be looked at as these people are just coming to take away opportunities and to drain resources rather than to give to the community.
No, spot on. I mean, we definitely want that approach where it's just like everybody respects where they're coming in the traditions, like we do, just like a grown up does when they go to another. Just like they respect another country, like we want to adapt and to do what's respectful, whether or not it's, whether it's bow your head or not speak a certain way in a public transportation, or, take off your shoes when you enter somebody's home. So we do look at it to just adopt in the simplest form, just in a family aspect or a culture aspect. But what makes it such a difficult conversations is A, you don't know where the line stops, like you're saying. And then B, you just really don't, like when you see politicians and people that we've elected to put in charge come into politics and represent the country and take advantage and not necessarily buy into what the foundational principles of what America's I'm sure was hopeful to be on. And you see these people basically extort and squeeze every bit of what the Americans in their contribution to it. It makes it just look like it's a free for all. Like it looked like a buffet in here, and where whoever you are, regardless of culture, regardless of background, Even in American, it just seemed like everybody come here to run a play and then slide. So it's just like we definitely need our leaders on that same perspective and approach. Don't get such in a habit of talking about what the immigrants need to do if we're not setting an example of how they need to live. And so when they see the fear mongering, when they see the disconnect, when we see how they're treating sometimes using the military, weaponizing that, like when they see that it looks chaotic in here, you kind of be like, oh, okay, well, shit, if they're gonna be on that type of time, well, shit, let me just get my bag and run, because these cats ain't even paying attention. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I want to look up, like, when I'm looking up what's the percentage of Muslim people in America, and the reason why I'm looking it up, I heard I think somebody discussing it yesterday. They were saying 1%, and you would almost think that when you hear about this Muslim problem in America, you would almost think that there's a lot more than 1% of the people being here Muslim. And a lot of this stuff is like, what are they trying to accomplish by telling us to fear Muslims? Like, what is the goal of all this? And I think you and I touched on this in a different conversation, where it was this approach to, like, what is the goal for this? Like, what are they trying to accomplish by convincing us that all Muslims are bad? Is this so you can commit whatever destruction, we typically or want to commit when it comes to the Arab nations in the Middle East? Is this just to make us sit back and say, see, look at them, they're taking over, so we should justify creating the Greater Israel Project? Like, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish, because for a lot of us, I think they're not getting the response that they typically would get. And what I mean by that is this fear mongering with the Muslims has a lot of us looking into other people who have influences in our government. It's like, you're not going to tell me that the radical Muslims are so bad. They're bad. They're all terrorists. But then we just open our phones and look at what's going on between Israel and Palestine, and y'all try to convince us that, yeah, it's the evil Muslims.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like it's the boogeyman.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. You'd almost be better off by just laying low when it comes to the Muslims, because then we wouldn't be like the people that are not looking at it from your perspective, that do not align with how you see the world, are going to be just as loud on the other side saying, nah, well, shoot, you said, what about them? What about y'all? What about all the money that y'all giving to the government? What about all the, you know what I mean? We start to look into these things. I've never even heard somebody question the whole Judeo-Christian values thing. This is the first time in America, from my understanding, that people have even questioned, like, what do they mean Judeo-Christian? Like, how was the country founded on Judeo-Christian values? It's almost led to a lot of Christians, from my perspective, standing up for Muslims and almost creating this divide within the Christian community, where you have certain people that are looking at Palestine, Israel, or what's going on in America, and standing up for the Muslim population, saying like, hey, you can't judge an entire race of people, entire ethnicity, based on some radical people who are standing up, trying to get back their land in the first place. You can't. So, but then there's the other Christians, a lot of these evangelicals, we play their videos. Well, they believe that it is their duty to support any and everything that Israel does.
Yeah, so, we play those.
You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, if y'all would have just laid low, people probably wouldn't have had the smoke that now exists for you. But
yeah, I mean, it just comes off, like, continues to come off as like a distraction. Like, what's the motive? Like, what do you guys have in play? Because you're right. Like, what would people even pay attention to that if you guys weren't constantly saying there was a problem or there was an issue? And, like you say, when you look at the data, like you're doing, and you're like, dog, this ain't, don't be doing that. Like, you're not gonna make it seem like it, but it just goes to show you the lack of respect that they have for the people.
Yeah.
For you to just give us this, I want not whitewash, but for you to just give us this washed, perspective, as if you don't know how to do math yourself. Like, as if you don't know what the hell is going on, just makes you more and more just dismissive as a whole. And like I said, like, this is why it's so important that we have these type of conversations publicly, not privately, but publicly, to intrigue the youth to be interested, to get the data, because history is a hell of a thing when you start reading into it. When you really start understanding what you were told and what what tradition is, and then you really dive deep into where things are coming from and why things exist and what the real celebration is behind a certain thing and how it was mastered, you just start losing all faith. You just start losing all faith in what you have been told, even down to your parents. And then what do we always say? Oh, it's not our parents' fault. Well, damn, somebody got to take some responsibility here to do the research. So these are the type of conversations that are very important, because like you said, if you don't look up for a second, they'll tell you somebody else throwing rocks at you, and then you look up, you're like, damn, motherfucker, it was you the whole time. Just capping. So
yeah. And Cameron, I agree with what you're saying. And Cameron, interesting comment. I'd rather live next to Jews than real Muslims. So what's a fake Muslim? Like, what? It's just an interesting way of writing that. Like, I would ask you to elaborate on that before I respond to it.
Right.
But I'd rather live next to Jews than real Muslims. What does that mean? We can go a bunch of different ways with that. But while we're waiting for Cameron to respond, let's actually do this. Let's take a look at this video. This is an interesting clip about people that come here. This lady, she's getting asked some questions about, will she adopt to America, who her allegiance is to, who her loyalty is to. Let's take a look at this.
War with Colombia. Who do you side with? Let's say the United States went to war with Colombia. Who do you side with?
Colombia.
Get the fuck out of our country. Holy fuck. Why do you side with Colombia?
Because I'm from Colombia.
You've lived here for 10 years and you're now a citizen.
Okay, still that doesn't mean I'm not gonna side with
You have
my
no.
country.
Okay, I'm looking this up. Yes, becoming a citizen requires taking the oath of allegiance. By taking the oath, you pledge to renounce any foreign allegiance, support and defend the U.S. Constitution and laws, and perform service to the country when required by law. You do not become a citizen until you have completed the oath ceremony and received your certificate of naturalization. Did you receive your certificate of naturalization?
Yes.
All right. Very quickly, got to stop it there. This is why they have to convince so many people to hate America. This is why they got to convince Black people to hate America. This is why they have to have us hate America in a lot of ways, because if we don't take pride in America, then we won't have an issue with this. Like, if all the minorities in America don't truly take pride in being American, we'll hear this video and just say, I don't have an issue with it. I'm Nigerian. Yeah, I rock with Nigeria more. I'm Dominican. I rock with the DR more. I'm Indian. I rock. When you actually have people that are trying to convince us to take pride in America, to put America first and buy into this America first way of life, you're going to have an issue with what she just said. That's a problem.
Yeah, naturally.
That's a problem. There's no way that you should be coming to America. And if I'm running America, there's no way that I should be bringing in all of these people to America that have this type of mindset. It doesn't do well for America. Ultimately, you're bringing in people that have more loyalty to another country than your actual country, which they're fleeing their country for a reason. They're coming to this country because there's more opportunities, because the way of life in their country, for whatever reason, they didn't want to stay there. So now they come here, but what they're really trying to do is take the resources, take the opportunities from America, send probably a lot of the money back and help their country. The goal is to not uplift America. And that's something for America to police. That's something for a lot of our politicians that we vote for. They have to be serious when it comes to addressing that. They have to be serious in understanding that, okay, this is the mindset of a lot of these people. How does that impact us moving forward? How does that impact America for Americans? Because just like she's loyal to her country, Colombia, what about the people that have been in America for hundreds of years? Who should they be loyal to?
Right.
You know,
and that makes a divide.
Right. So they almost have to, if I hate America as a Black person, let's say, I'm not going to have an issue with anything that she just said. Anything that she just said. But if I do take pride in America and I am investing myself into America and I am pushing an America first approach, that's going to shift the way that I look at something that the way I look at everything that she just said.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it definitely looks as if it's it did look like he kind of sprung that question on her, but regardless, like the approach wasn't even in a fashion where it seemed like she respected the country also.
Yeah.
It wasn't even in a place where it's like, dang, man, you put me in a corner. Like, obviously I love where I'm from, but I love why I'm here. Like the energy was just like, nah, America, what? Fuck all that. Yeah. But it's like, yeah, you're right. But like you're here complaining about America. And we see a lot of pockets of people complain that. So we have to look at it twofold. Like, why are people saying that? And how do we change that narrative? And how do we change the approach for even people feeling comfortable to be on that? Because I couldn't imagine playing for your favorite football team and being the starting quarterback and saying you hate the team that you play for. Mm-hmm. Like nobody would say no dumb shit like that. They'd cut them. But in this place, all of a sudden, that's an option. Like you can speak your mind. But these are the freedom of speech. Like these are the freedoms that people, when you provide them for so long, they take it. They forget that it's something that a lot of people's blood was spilt over to be able to obtain. And so, this is what happens when you don't teach your child the value of $1. They think money just grows on trees. So when you don't show and teach people the history of what it costs to get freedom, you get arrogance like this. This is why it's important for us to educate and to encourage people to dig into our history, regardless of what side of the fence you feel that our history on. It's important for people to know where the country comes from. How much you want to bet we speak to this girl? She just knows nothing about the country. She knows enough to pass 7th or 8th grade, but it just kind of stops there. So we have to take pride in our history, not just our flags, not just the things that separate us at times, but come together, whether black, white, Muslim, Christian, and find a way to find some common ground so that we can have a commonality or something like that. Yeah.
It's definitely a tough thing to police. I can see that the history, that playing a role. And to be real, I think it'll just naturally correct itself when you have the country prioritizing the actual people in the country, the actual Americans. Now, it's hard to look at this. It's hard to think that you can't get away with the things that she says because America has created this entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
This entitlement when it comes to people that come over here. America has made it okay to just come over here, take advantage of all the resources, go back to your country. America has made it very easy to do so, and I think that a lot of people are moving in a different direction.
Yeah,
moving in a different direction. We'll hear the rest of the convo.
Did you complete the oath ceremony?
Yes.
So you're a liar? Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Here, read that shit again. I do solemnly swear that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure, I don't even know what the that means, all allegiance, Colombia, and fidelity to any foreign prince or what the potentate? Is that a fucking fruit? What the is that shit? It's like a pomegranate and a fucking potato. State or sovereignty. Did you say that shit?
Yeah.
So you lied to get into the United States, bruv.
I didn't lie.
You have allegiance to Colombia.
It's not allegiance.
Originally, you said Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll stick to that answer.
Yeah. So and obviously this could be considered a one-off, but I don't think it is.
No, I think this represents a good snapshot.
Yeah, I think people think that they can come here for the opportunities that America presents, and they feel that that's what they can go on.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. But see, when you shaking your ass and you doing whatever to get anybody over here so they can stimulate the economy, then this is what you're gonna get. Yeah. Y'all took the money over principles and morals. You guys knew what it took to build a good, strong foundation for the American people. You wanted the cheap route. You send the jobs overseas. You found a way to outsource your tech companies. You found a way to outsource your factories. You found a ways to outsource your shipment. We trying to be pimps. And so this is initially what I thought, Trump was going to more or less initially focus on at the beginning, to be able to put in a position where we can start kind of bringing these things back home, because it seemed like, damn, like the pendulum has swung completely to the other side. Like, it's like nothing made in America. Like, we be looking at that like you'd be lucky if you ever catch anything made in America. And if it does, you just have this expectation that it's just going to be overpriced and under quality. But it's just like, America, look what you did. You pimped out America. The people, the leaders in America pimped it out for anything and everything. For whether it be fabric, whether it be they weren't willing to keep that, like I said, like the Dodge symbol, the GM. You let every plant go overseas and you ran it so everybody could make their bag. Even the Americans, you didn't keep the American people at a high standard. So they taught the immigrants how to just run it up and dip, because that's what we let the Americans, the business people, do, left and right. And so it's made it so difficult to sit here and act like we care about just like the morality or the infrastructure or the pride that we should have. But nothing we purchase, nothing on our backs, nowhere we live, nothing is built on the Americans. But we want the benefits from them. So I think some things are going to have to shift, and our prioritization isn't always going to have to be money. And no, Trump, you're not just going to be able to slap tariffs overnight and think that's just going to fix the pride thing. It's like we really have to fix and focus the infrastructure so that the money stays in America. There's a pride in America. The Americans are going to get the American jobs. These trade jobs that we talk about, like the air conditioning, the HVACs, things of that nature. Like, we got to get back to the roots of what I think a lot of people, when we first started America, like, we got to get back to that. Our sons and our daughters are going into spaces that help benefit the country. But if it's always going to be for a new tech company that we going to outsource overseas, then I don't know.
Right. We never address the issue. We keep kicking the can down the road. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to employment, the tariffs, all this stuff that Trump was supposed to come in and take care of and really prioritize. But now, what is he doing? He's doing the H-1B visas. When we look at these things, it's almost, we have to ask ourselves as Americans, are we willing to take a step back? Are we willing to maybe pay a little bit more in this area? And it really shouldn't even have to be about paying a little bit more. One of the things that I actually was rocking with when Trump was talking about the tariffs and all these things, that, hey, there's going to be more of a cost, people kept saying. He said, no, let the company absorb that. That should really be what the push is for. That's my opinion. Let the countries, like, which country wants to establish a long-term relationship with America? And I think Trump, that's what he is saying that he was doing, as far as bringing a lot of the companies to America, or bringing some of the American companies like a John Deere, who was bringing their plants to Mexico, incentivizing them to come back here, hire Americans. Yes, if it costs more, it costs more. Let's lay that out. What does that look like? Does that just look like, your board not being able to take a bigger bonus on the holidays? Like, what does that look like? And if a company is willing to take that hit, then shouldn't that be the country that we align? I mean, shouldn't that be the company that we align ourselves? We take pride in now supporting. There should be some certification where it's like, companies should be able to declare, I absorb the tariffs, or I absorb the cost to bring production to America, the cost to hire Americans, all these different things, rather than bringing people here on programs to run stuff. Would the initial cost go up? What's so funny about this stuff, people talk as if, oh, well, this happens and this happens. I guess it would be safe to assume that if we're bringing in more of American workers and we have to pay them more, I guess in certain areas we're saying that we have to pay them more, but I see a lot of Americans doing jobs for not a lot of money. So I don't really, I guess, see it as that being a guarantee. But if you do have to pay Americans more and we have to pay more for the products, is that not worth building the economy of America, strengthening America to where our dollar goes a lot further, our dollar's worth a whole lot more, even if we have to pay more at the time? Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, even if the prices of certain things went up, Would we be making more money? Would our dollar be worth more? Like, I'm just trying to figure out if Americans would accept that. You know what I mean? If Americans would be okay with saying, you know what, if this is going to benefit America 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 40, 50, 100 years from now, is this worth it? Is this something that we can get behind? And that's on the politicians. They sell us all the other BS. Sell us this. Make it make sense.
Yeah.
Make it make sense, because the alternative is exactly what we're doing right now. You can get the most conservative people in office. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what we're seeing is that people are going to make decisions based on their own pockets. What's best for their companies and what's best for them, because they'll just listen to their donors. So if I'm getting $100 million from big tech, and big tech is telling me that, oh, nah, we need these people from this country to come in and work, then if you're giving me $100 million, then you're going to do what Trump's doing and say like, oh, nah, these H-1B visas, now we rocking with them. That's what I think is going to end up happening.
Yeah.
So what Corey wrote, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. I had put that. Damn America is for the streets. It's like
America definitely for the streets.
We're gonna shake it for it. Like we're gonna shake some. We're gonna shake a little something if you got a couple dollars.
Yeah.
We're not taking no pride in that. We've like you said, like what the panel, your board isn't going to be able to get that extra bonus. Like we're not making it prideful to work. What I would say is these American jobs. We frown on those. Are they livable wages? Are people capable of living and supporting their family working these jobs that they once did back in the day, et cetera, et cetera? Or does everybody have to become an entrepreneur to be able to somewhat chase that American dream? We make it so difficult to really go down these paths. It's like, damn, like where Cat's really supposed to go with it, because we just got in a place where it just makes it so difficult to be able to pursue these things. Go to college, get you a good, solid job, but it's like what they looking, they count their pockets. It's like we're not taking care of the people that we are nurturing along the school system, nurturing them along the collegiate, nurturing them all along to the internships and et cetera, et cetera. Where they gonna go work? Where they gonna go work for a marketing company? Where they gonna work? ESPN? We all gonna work there? Like that's not majority of America. So, like you said, the pride has to be taken with these businesses. Are they willing to commit for the long run? I mean, you see all the cultures do it here in America. We see how the Asian cultures, they buy Asian, they eat Asian, they support Asian, they live in the Asian community, and they ship that bread back. America, what's up? You can't just keep, the Black community wanted to get involved with that. They got the black dollar, try to keep the black dollar and the black, we buy black, we this, like, America, where's your stamp? That's how I see the support. I don't want the support of veterans with the 10 cents at Publix. I want more than that. That's not working. We want more. We want more of that. We want the labels that said "Made in America." Let's push that initiative. Let's find a way to get the rappers on it. Let's find a way to get Miley Cyrus on it, Taylor Swift on it. Let's make it cool to not just buy black or buy this. Let's buy America. What does that look like? Is the quality there? Are we seeing the jobs being the children get? I think the people would get behind that. We have to want that though. We got to want that.
And it has to be real American made. And perhaps they should adjust the standards, because I believe as the rules currently stand, I can ship a t-shirt in from, let's say, from Pakistan. They could do all the work from Pakistan. They could make the t-shirt. They could put everything on the t-shirt. But then let's say I bring it here and I may put like a little tag on it or something. I believe that I can say legally that that's made in America, depending on how much of the shirt. So perhaps we need to adjust the standards in a lot of these different areas and be willing to and understand that, hey, when I'm going from this mindset where I think a lot of other cultures look at it, where instead of I'm buying this product, I'm investing in America. That's the difference. When you look at all these other populations of people that come to America and you said they buy, let's say the Chinese community, you know, they go by that FUBU mindset, for us, by us. That money's not circulating outside of the community. Like we're circulating that dollar in this community. I think that's perhaps how Americans would have to look at it. I'm trying to think like,
I mean, I think if you start from like what we're talking about right now, we just make these the conversations. I think you absolutely can change the trajectory of what that looks like. Like, make the made in America like not seem like a publicity stunt for somebody to get in office. Like, just like you can't be, your mindset can't be narrow and you wrapped up in being racist and think, oh, I'm gonna go, let me ride down the street with my pride on. Like, nah, like you're blowing the mission. This is not what we on here. We're just finding a way that we can take pride and then not always be wrapped up in racism when we take pride in being American. There's nothing wrong with that. But what the Americans that have what I would say a good approach or a very like open approach to immigration and, you know, people from different countries, et cetera, we have to establish some ground foundational things that allow America to not like always be on the streets looking for a new dollar. So excited to get a new headquarters of some company that is based out of someplace else here. Not like when you have Hyundai, Kia, and all these other companies selling for half of what it costs for other things, like, yes, maybe tariffs will make more sense. Because what we need to even the playing field out, because we can't compete when the shirt's coming in from Pakistan for $250.
Right. We
can't compete with that. It don't matter what people say. They're not gonna get behind that because they're gonna be like, oh man, my bread ain't gonna be able to stretch. So, okay, well, what does that look like? Well, I don't think personally you should be able to just come through, grab it from Pakistan, paying them 2 cents an hour, slide it over here, throw a tag on it, like. Or do we have options? And should there be a luxury tax, et cetera, et cetera? But what is that going to do? It's going to have to address the taxes.
Mm-hmm. And then
go
ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying like it's going to make people have to. Now what do the taxes look like? Like, or are you going to be able to be the rich dude that runs from your taxes and be able to slide it into some real estate to avoid the capital gains taxes, like all these runarounds and write the big old G-Wagon off and the Escalade? Like, okay, but why my regular American who just don't have isn't the entrepreneur is starting his t-shirt business to making some, a little bit of subsidize some income, but he getting taxed the highest? Like, now it becomes who got the best lawyers, who got the best CPA, who knows the most tax law. And it's just like, oh, here we go. America back on this, shaking that ass for ones again in the strip club. We got to get away from that. That's what we've been on. We let the big dogs at the top. We let these tech companies, we letting them just come in there and just find them make America bow down. Because they got WhatsApp, like when the WhatsApp and the WhatsApp and the Facebook dude are down in Miami by you at the crib, and they pulling up on 400-foot yachts with helicopters on the tops and shit like that. It's like, here we go. Like, you ain't never gonna get the people behind you when it's looking like that. You can't be going this hard. And I've worked for corporate companies where even if you make good money within the company, they don't let you make these wild, outlandish purchases. Like as a salesperson, we weren't allowed to drive a vehicle like a BMW, and they made that like in the thing. You had to ride in a very normal car. So when you approach these potential clients, they weren't taken back by how you was pulling up. So it's just like a lot. Yeah. And you could not drive any other car. So if somebody had a BMW that their mama gave them, now you can't drive that there. You're just not going to get that account because the people, we don't want them offended. So it's like, we can reconstruct this thing. I think the American dream will become different. It will be updated. I think the structure path, I think taxes will be addressed. And I think we can definitely fix this. I think we definitely can get behind that. I ain't got no problem grabbing American made, et cetera, just as long as I know the dude in West Virginia who's saying niggas don't belong here ain't because I'm not pushing that. I'm not pushing for the immigrants not to be here. Man, come on now. Let's be honest. A lot of these things, these trades ain't getting done if immigrants ain't doing them. Like I see these things on Twitter, like go back home. It's like, okay, who gonna do it? I just want to know who gonna do it.
I think people will do it.
You think they'll tap in?
I think Americans will do it. I think there's a whole lot of people. It's like anything else. We got to do a better job marketing it. If we can market something and incentivize people to come across, from a different country to come here and do certain things and sell them on not only what they can have when they first get here, but the opportunity to grow. I think that if Americans made that the cool thing, if we got back to the trades, colleges, we got to remember, they do a hell of a job marketing. They do a hell of a job marketing and convincing a lot of Americans that the only way that we could be successful in America is if you get this college degree. That was just a sales thing. So now what does everybody do? They go do the college degree. They think that they're doing a trade. This is, I want some white collar work, this blue collar stuff. It's not as prestigious. So we have that in our mindset. Americans will do that work. Like I'm confident that there's not a job out here that you couldn't market in a way, sell in a way, be very creative in some certain ways, and get young people behind it to really start embracing the opportunities that come with these trades. You can incentivize different programs where it's like, okay, for the kids that don't go to college, let's say, you go directly into a trade. We have this program where if you go through this program with this trade, because we need more engineers or electricians, we need more plumbers. So if you go through this program with your trade, then we set you up and give you a grant to start your business. Let's say when you show that you've had 4 years, or you go through a particular program. Why wouldn't people get on board with that? Absolutely. And the money talks. Like, show people how they can make money in that industry, create some marketing around it, make it cool, and people will embrace it. Because if not now, when's going to be the perfect time? Right now, people are looking at college degrees. What is a college degree getting you? A job at Starbucks? A job at, you know what I mean? And I'm not downplaying, obviously, a job at Starbucks. But what I'm saying is, what does college have to do with Starbucks?
Yeah,
like,
what,
yeah, right. What certifications do I need to, or what education am I only going to be able to learn in college that's going to prepare me for Starbucks? College degrees aren't meaning as much as they used to before. People aren't putting the value on that. And a lot of these people that are making it big, and because we can hear a lot of these successful entrepreneur stories, a lot of people, the successful people, are the ones that dropped out of college. So now that we just have that information and we're seeing that college isn't as valuable, now may be the perfect time to understand, like, hey, maybe it is the safer bet. When we look at a lot of the jobs that weren't affected by 2020, maybe those are some of the trades that are going to protect you from getting fired from your job or anything else like that, or they're going to be recession proof. Because it doesn't matter what recession comes, you're going to have to pay a plumber to do what a plumber does. You're going to have to pay a mechanic to do what a mechanic does. You may not get as many haircuts, but hey, you're going to still need to get your hair done, your line done, whatever it may be. So the barbers are going to be in demand. Everything across the board, when you look at people that have a tool and a skill and they can use that, even though it may be seen as blue collar work, I think that we could do an excellent job marketing that and getting the younger groups of people to embrace that, because that's really all it would take. You talk about taking, like, even you hear people talking about I wouldn't work on a farm. Why wouldn't you? Okay, you wouldn't work on a farm to just work in the same job that you're starting off now to be in the same position 10 years from now. But what if it had a bit of a sharecropping approach where we're going to give you a piece of this land or something, some type of incentivization where down the line you get a grant to now create your own farm. If we really care about having our farms in America by Americans.
Make that a policy,
right.
An incentive.
Let's start pushing it and getting people behind it. But the problem is we don't want to compete with the college marketing. They got to compete.
Yeah, they spend money.
Yeah.
So, it ain't cheap to get these athletes to come to Texas or to get the Lane Kiffins to come to LSU. It ain't free.
You gotta
so
pay.
It definitely, you got to pay to get that. But if our true focus and initiative is America first and those things, then you're right. The businesses have to tap in and they have to be willing to spend. But also we need that government support as well. We need to be able to outsource some of that overhead from these companies, because some of these companies ain't making enough to even consider an expansion opportunity or et cetera, et cetera. But I'm sure these companies want to scale. So it's just like, don't give us a stimulus check. Find a way to incentivize businesses to scale. You know, that's the key. If you can find a way to help support these businesses and they can, you know, the write-offs, obviously we have tax incentives to be able to like things that are write-offs, but like we have to update the software so that we can show these businesses in this day and age how it looks like, because the landscape is a lot different. And you're right. So the ACs, the plumbing, things of that nature, how do we scale these people that have locked in for 15 years? Or are we going to continue and let the big companies that made it, that have huge locations in multiple places, are we going to incentivize more and more business in America from Americans? And what does that look like? Because every time an immigrant come over, I promise you, they don't necessarily always think college. They think, all right, how can I start my own business? So how can we do that for the American children? How can we teach them like, hey, our goal ain't to put y'all in the cubicle if that ain't your vibe. If it is, run the play. But you've got options. I feel like they've kind of marketed like you didn't have an option but to just go work someplace that is going to hire you. You're going to work there for 20 years and then we're going to replace you with the young gun. And you're going to, like, you know what I mean? Like some people have been burned by doing that American process. Like they still got a little trauma, etc.
Yeah, and there's a different level of urgency, like you said, when people come over here. So a lot of it's on Americans figuring out like, yo, you're losing. And us being presented with that information, we're losing. We're playing all these home games and losing and acting as if it's okay. So a lot of it is on the Americans taking pride in a lot of these things, and us pushing the issue when it comes to a lot of these programs, because people come here with a different urgency, and the culture of America is to what? By the time you're 18, you're thinking about how can I move out the house? How can I move away from my family? Where these people come here because they have to rely on each other. It's almost like the circumstances encourage people that come from a different country to be more locked in and be united in their family front. Rather than growing up in America, you just can't wait to get out the house. You just can't, you're not thinking about it from a mindset like a lot of foreigners think about it, where it's like, I'm living in this house until I get married, or I'm living in this house to support what we got going here. And then eventually I'll move, we'll put together a group of us put together money, maybe for me to have my own house when I have a family. So then we'll have that house, but it's all money in. The approach to life is just totally different. We grow up trying to distance ourselves from family. They grow up needing to rely on family. So therefore there's a different urgency and a different process that they go about compared to us. We got different goals. So I think that can, if that's taught and presented to us in a way where we can understand it, then even though the majority of us may still not get on board with it, I think that slowly but surely we'll see people buy into that a bit more, because it's almost like you can't even afford to live life right now by yourself. We set unrealistic expectations for ourselves. Then we get in a whole bunch of debt from college. Then we got to owe money when we're trying to live somewhere. So it's almost like this cycle. It's almost a cycle, because think about it. How are we supposed to compete? And now that we go to college and we don't look at that college debt that we accrue as what it should be, which is a huge expense that we now have to spend the next 30 years paying off. We don't look at it like that. We don't understand that we are already starting off with, we look at that college degree and think that we're getting a head start to something, but in all actuality, they sold us on the value, overestimated the value of a college degree. So now we're just starting a race competing against other people when we're already 20, 30, 40 yards behind, because we got all this debt, rather than somebody else coming in, not feeling like they have to survive by themselves. They come in with their family. They come in to take advantage of whatever program. A lot of these programs are also available to us, Americans, but we just don't look at it like that. That's not our culture to embrace. And a lot of it has to be on us as well, accepting that responsibility. But a lot is also on the government not selling us out and not creating all this competition for us from all these people that they're bringing here. And especially when we got this entitled mindset to where things should be given to us. So I think there's blame on all sides, but there's different things that can be done that I think can get us to that position to where we're appreciating all of these jobs that are around.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So this is actually, I think this is the clip that you were talking about.
Oh yeah, it looks familiar.
Let's take a look at it.
And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country. I'll be honest.
Hold on.
And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I can say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, has Maduro offered to leave?
Yes. Yeah, Trump.
Yo, who's the dude to the right just like gassing him right there?
Pete Hegseth.
Oh, okay.
That's the one that we were talking about yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How you feel about that one, Clay?
All right, so a bunch of things.
Yeah,
I feel that Trump does this from time to time, and I think a lot of people do it. I think Nick Fuentes does this, where you get to a point where, let's say your popularity is declining, or people are disappointed in you that voted for you. You'll go out and you'll say certain things to kind of rile people up and to kind of point the finger and like, hey, just a reminder, like, don't yell at me, yell at them. They're the enemy. They're the ones that are preventing you from living the life that you want to live. They're the ones that are impacting the economy. They're the ones that, won't release the Epstein files. Like that's kind of the approach where it seems to be just an appeal to get people that are his base, or that he considers his base, to kind of get back on board with what Trump's doing. It's going to be a little funny. It's going to be charismatic. It's going to be Trumpish. He's going to stand up and walk out. Like, everything about it is just a reminder. It's reminding us of who Trump is, from as far as how Trump wants to remind us of who he is. But he has some points in it, but it's just the rhetoric that he uses. Now you're talking about an entire group of people. What do we always talk about? People, whenever we talk about, you can't say Jewish people. You have to actually break it down and say, well, I'm talking about Israel. I'm talking about the Zionists. But then every other group of people, when it comes to black and brown, there's no problem just categorizing them in entirety and just saying like they're the problem. All of them are coming over here. They come from these. It's like he said before with the quote unquote shithole countries. All of this stuff is first off, you're incentivizing them to come here. You're incentivizing. Look at the laws. Look at the rules that we have when it comes to people that migrate here. It's not just their fault. It's not all of them coming here to come from their shithole countries and to just complain, let's say, like an Ilhan Omar. Now, when you do have an Ilhan Omar, this is the point that I do agree when it comes to him. Yeah, you shouldn't be coming here and have more of an allegiance to your country. You shouldn't be coming here and trying to take our resources to uplift your country. That shouldn't be the number one priority, especially when you become a politician in America. So there's certain aspects of what he's saying that I do believe that are totally true. But to me, it also goes back to that comment as far as, what did I say earlier? Like, it's funny when people have this energy towards black and brown groups of people, but they never seem to have that energy towards the people that are actually controlling and running our government, the people that have a greater influence. So to me, I just saw this as rhetoric that's going to appeal to his base for whatever reason. It's like Nick Fuentes using the N-word every once in a while. You know, he'll go a week where it's like he doesn't use much of the N-word, and he's scared that his base is turning on him because a lot of them just came to him for his rhetoric. So I see Trump doing the same thing. This is just an appeal to certain people because he knows that his popularity is at an all-time low. So therefore, he'll bring up something like this, use certain rhetoric that's just going to make people laugh, going to make people smile, going to make people feel like they're getting back on board with this is the Trump that I voted for. That's the energy that I hear when I hear this.
No, absolutely. That's exactly the takeaway that I'm getting from. Just get going at halftime, get the locker room riled up, get them going, get the juices flowing. Tell them to forget about the Epstein files. Tell them forget about all the empty promises. Say some trigger words to get them fired up, and now they're thinking you coming out at halftime differently. It's the same shit, different, just a different quarter for him. So yeah, he knows this. This is his bag, though. This is the position Trump likes to be in. He loves this. This is how he built a lot of entertainment for a lot of years. Is just to kind of get them going and get them fired up. And it's the nothing drives me more off a deep end than it's these other dudes right here. It's this. It's this.
Look at Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, it's this. It's like Trump gonna be Trump, so I expect him to be him. It's when you got these dudes just like a bunch of roosters, a bunch of turkeys running around like oh yeah, Trump. Like, why? What are you gassing? It's it's just it's just them. It's them that really got me turned off, bro.
It's just not manly. Like when you see it doesn't come across manly, bro.
Yeah, it's a bad look when I gotta look up and see. Look at him. He looking like he about to like give him a bottle. Like it's oh my goodness.
And perhaps this is the chaos that is created on purpose, because what ends up happening, and I think I even saw some comments, but I'm not sure if they were pertaining exactly to what I'm getting ready to say. But on one side, you have Trump, and why can he say the things that he's saying? And a lot of people get behind it is because on the other side, you do have people like Ilhan Omar. You know what I mean? So it's almost like they put both sides, put people in place to where one feeds off of the other. And then the people, the majority in the middle, we just end up getting, pushed one way or another, even though we don't align with either, extreme radical side, but we'll just get pushed in one way because this will just be the way that I lean a little bit more because I don't like that, or this will be the way that I lean a little bit more because I can't stand that. This is the energy. So, of course, when you have an Ilhan Omar that apparently married her brother to become a citizen in America, and then the things that she talks about, it seems like she doesn't even like America, seems like she can't stand America, seems like she just complains about America, but doesn't seem to have this energy or this grace towards their own home country. Mm-hmm. And perhaps that's just because America, we're the winners. So, we get judged in a way that's different than other countries. But I feel them when it comes to that energy. Like, yo, stop coming here. Don't be coming here complaining about stuff, talking about what America should be, America, all this other stuff. If you're not prioritizing America, if you're not all in on this team that we play for, then why should you have the opportunity to complain? Going back to the analogy that you use with sports. If you're not even prioritizing being on this team, if you prioritize being on another team, then why should we value anything that you say as far as your opinion and how we can uplift this team and do better and succeed? Mm-hmm. It doesn't hold much weight.
That's minimum the prerequisite. Like you just can't doormat America. Like every team got things they need to address in the locker room, but you can't come here because our culture may be not what you want, but like that doesn't work in the locker room. Like the sports analogy is always going to be the play. It's like I don't care if you play for the Dallas Cowboys as bad as they are. I don't care if you play for the Raiders. At some level, you see the pride in the stands. You can't say two words about somebody losing season if it's one of these teams that have pride and tradition. Why don't we take that same approach? And for the people that feel like freedom of speech is that's where it starts getting sticky, right? All right, well, we're going to give you the freedom of speech, but then we run the freedom of speech play. So then it's like, well, you can't censor what people say, even though they speak.
But hold up, that's not. And you mentioned that earlier, real quick. My fault. I mean, because freedom of speech doesn't mean that there's freedom from consequence.
Consequence, okay.
Yeah. So you could say whatever you want. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't be able to say it. Matter of fact,
okay, yeah, you're right.
That you're saying it.
Yeah.
Because you're letting us know exactly where you stand. What I'm saying is that you should be able to say whatever you want, but I don't know if we should be valuing what you say. Anybody can say whatever they want.
Okay.
Why are we listening to you and taking advice as far as what we can do to America and to help uplift it if that's not even your main priority?
You're right. You're right.
Why should we value your criticism in the same way as somebody else who's actually all in on the team? That's what I'm saying. So no, I'm not trying to censor anybody.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because you're right. Like the response to it don't matter. Like you can do and say whatever you want anywhere, but that don't mean you're gonna have a job tomorrow. That don't mean so. It's just like you can take that. You can use those words, and because they're so vague and loose, you can really apply them in a way where they can continue to. You can still keep them. You can still keep that baseline of what that means, but also at the same time, you can allow people to not take advantage of it. Because we always talk about like when the teacher is, when the teacher's not in class today, and then the next day she comes back in because we had a sub, and then everybody acting out. Like that's a great example of people just taking the opportunity and running it up.
Agreed. Shout out to Robert, always coming through, man. Appreciate
what's up, Robert? Yeah, thank you, Robert, so much.
Robert wrote, these things are just marketing and redirecting frustration of the working class. The truth is in actual policy decisions. So far, the most impactful policy Trump has done is corporate tax cuts. I agree. I mean, we see what Trump is doing with whether it's the H-1B visas with the workers, whether it's, I believe a lot of the Chinese students coming into our schools. We see what Trump is doing as far as these policies. And I haven't even heard much on the tariffs. I haven't heard much about bringing the businesses back to America. I heard more of that early on. And while he was running, I haven't seen those things actually take fruition with him being in office.
I did. You know what I mean? Yeah, I did see. So Costco just filed a huge lawsuit against Trump in the administration for those tariffs. I'm trying to think how it work. I think essentially like because they've incurred so many new costs because of those tariffs, and obviously it affects their pricing for a lot of things and goods on the shelf. They filed a lawsuit against it, and now I guess that's buying them time to also want to suspend the tariffs that I guess would be endured right now. So there's something actually along the lines. I just saw that Costco, which is obviously a huge provider for the American people, is, they're not feeling that. So how does one approach that situation like that when you like you will put these things in place, for obviously a certain reason, but then they got the freedom to be like, nah, we ain't off none of that. And then now we're wasting tax dollars, we're wasting resources, we're wasting all this stuff to have this conversation of why they don't want to pay this stuff. So it's just like, I don't like, how do you feel about that? But I did see that this week, actually.
As far as them, like the cost of the companies, like how do I feel about, it is what it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if certain things are adjusted as companies, you have to figure stuff out. Like as a sales mindset, we always have to figure, things always change. You figure it out. You can't just think that, the business is what it is right now. This is what it's always going to be. We don't ever have to make any adjustments. No, it doesn't work like that. And I would be very transparent with a lot of this stuff. I wish that they would be more transparent, or that there would be some type of, I don't know, maybe Doge type of, not necessarily Doge focusing on government efficiency, but a group that focuses on, well, what are the costs that it's going to, what does that increase in cost really look like? We don't know. We just kind of know what we hear as far as like the story that you're telling me about. What does that cost actually look like to the business? I would love to know that. I want to know what, based on the profit that you were receiving before the tariffs, how does that impact that percentage of profit that you're now receiving? What does that truly look like? Because companies can complain, and they're going to complain because why? They want certain profits. they want certain profit margin. But I want to know exactly what that looks like, because if your company can't compete, then you're going to have to either raise prices, you're going to either have to take less money, maybe at the top, the board or whoever else, the C-suite, or you're going to have to increase price. You're going to have to do these things, but just show us. I want to see the actual impact, because I think we can get behind an increase, but when we actually believe that the information that we're getting is true. Like, I don't think that I should have to pay, or I'm not going to go to a store. Let's say I can pay $10 for something at a American store, and if they increase their price, let's say, I don't know, to $15 for something. Let's say that I'm getting a meal, and the tariffs increase the price of the meal from $13 to $18. As long as I know that that's based on tariffs, that's based on certain things, and it's going to help America, then I'm a lot more likely to still pay that amount. You get what I'm saying? Because I feel like I'm buying into the country, I'm investing into the country. But
it's like you feel when you're doing the small business stuff.
Right. You feel, you take a sense of pride in when you're supporting something like that. But it's really a much bigger issue, as you're asking me, and I'm thinking about it, because all of this is created based on country pride, right? Country pride, us believing in our country. And when we have a certain sense of pride for the country, I think it adjusts our mindset towards it. But when we see what our country is doing, selling us out, it's always going to make us sort of half step a bit, when it comes to our support.
Yeah.
To take it out of my pockets to support who and what. Am I supporting this, or am I supporting Israel? Am I supporting these immigrants coming in here? Like, that's what we think of when we're paying our tax dollars.
The leadership.
Right. And then when we talk about a sense of pride in America overall, like, Americans don't tend to have pride in America. We don't have that nationalist approach to certain things. Think about it. You get called a Nazi for simply having a nationalist approach to things. When you hear about it, perhaps instead of focusing on white nationalism like a lot of groups did, perhaps we should have just focused on American nationalism to have that sense of pride. Because think about all the sacrifices that other cultures will make when you feel that you're actually investing into something that you believe in, compared to investing in America, because it's not even something that we even like. Do you believe in America? It's like, no, like, most of us can't stand. Most of us are the ones that are complaining across the board. So, yeah,
you're right. It does spread the positivity, or the mission, the initiative starts to spread itself thin when you ask yourself, well, what makes you not want to do X, Y, and Z? It's like, well, yeah, when America always looked like it's got to shake something to get a couple of dollars, and we willing to do it. We willing to throw her out there and make her shake some to get some ones back. It's like, damn, we just ain't moving with no pride. Like, when you doing these things, when things like the Epstein files have to, like, when you moving in a way like that, like, we don't feel like the little kids that used to come around and say, hey, I'm selling Girl Scout cookies, and they $5, $6, $7, $8, man. Let me go check my pockets. I got a little check. Here's a 20. How many can I get with that? And you cool, keep the change. Like, we're not getting that energy, because we want to see, like, what we liked about the girl and the Girl Scout cookies and things of that nature. We like to see that bread. We're not really overly concerned with the dub, but it's like, all right, here's a dub, man. I love to see this. Or I remember I was driving around the neighborhood. I seen 3 little kids in a pretty affluent neighborhood. But they had a little lemonade stand, had a little Gatorade, had a little this, had a little that. And it's just like, I'm driving and I ain't had nothing but a couple dollars on me, but I seen them. I was like, oh, nah, this the energy I like. I whipped that thing back around. Hey, man, can I get a Gatorade? I had a little couple bucks. I said, let me get 2 of those, actually. And then, his dad over there in the corner gives me the change. I'm like, this is what we want to do, bruh. White kid in a big neighborhood. I don't care. We don't care about none of that. When we see the money going to our youth and our children learning to be an entrepreneur and how to count the money, and I see his dad in the corner send me a little hand, like, waving, like, that make you feel whole. That's what I want the American dream to be and get back to. The kids being safe enough to knock on the door, or, supporting and the youth programs. Like, this is what we want. We want our kids to get to that, being able to speak to grown up and count the dollar. And he took a second. It's like, that's what we want to see. So imagine we know how to do it, but why are we choosing not to? And if we're not, then what is incentivizing you guys to get away from that so far? Why have we gotten so far away from these type of things? Why are we always idolizing the corporations or wanting to figure out how we can put Costco in position? I want to put the small businesses in position.
Mm-hmm.
Costco, yeah, you're right. Like, Costco, you got to figure it out. Close a couple stores down. It happens. Like, maybe y'all just can't have the market on lock anymore like you used to.
Get creative.
Make smaller stores.
Yeah, I don't know what.
It's not my problem, though.
Figure it out. Figure it out. And I see a lot of and there's ways to do certain things. Like, I look at, there's certain things that Home Depot does, where they actually have programs for kids and adults, I believe, where they'll teach you how to do certain trades. Like, they'll teach you a lot of these things at a young age. So when you're driving around the neighborhood and you're seeing that stand, it's because you see a young entrepreneur. You take pride in, like, oh, they doing it at that age. Like, they don't even realize that they're learning certain lessons that just from selling lemonade that can set them up to have a completely different mindset, have them on a completely different trajectory towards success and what that success is going to ultimately look like. Like, those are the things. So when I look at a company like a Home Depot, like Costco, like, figure it out. Figure out how to create more value to where people can come to your store and maybe justify spending a couple more dollars. Maybe that's what it is. I want to show this clip to you. I wanted to get to the Nick Fuentes video, but as we're talking about politics and all these things, we're talking about solutions to problems. And I came across this video.
What is this just on your hip? Like, how you always just got something for something?
I save all these videos, and then when we're having the conversations, like, different things come up.
Oh my God.
It's like, I had no intention at all of playing this video. But and I want to preface it by saying, like, I don't condone this message. I understand what he's saying, and I'm not saying that he condones this message, but I have to preface it with the gentleman that's getting ready to talk.
Okay.
But this is how bad politics have become, to where we have this type of perspective and mindset. Take a look.
And what about politics?
I don't give a shit.
You don't find it a great
I really don't care
treasure
about politics.
trove of
Some people
material?
do. I don't. I think the system is corrupt. Every time I'm walking on the street, somebody's like, hey, vote for so-and-so. I'm like, it's all corrupt. Anarchy is the only way we're going to change anything. Violence. Kill a politician. That's the only way you can change shit.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're joking.
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah, voting is not going to make a difference. It has never. Not in 100 years.
So what would you like to see?
I'd like to see some politicians start getting murdered and reform this government.
Oh my
into one that's
God.
not corrupted. I'd like to get business out of government, and they're not going to do it. So the only way to do this is start killing people.
Isn't that exactly what
Look
you
around the
don't
world.
want?
How has anything changed around the world? How has any regime change happen around the world? Violence. That's the only way. You think people in Arab countries are that much different than us?
Yeah.
Violence. That's the only way you depose a system that doesn't represent the people anymore.
I mean, I think the wonderful thing about the United States is that we can vote, and you do change
Your
administration.
vote doesn't go anywhere. Your vote doesn't do anything.
Yes, it does.
You can now be arrested and never tried if they say you're a terrorist. Never tried in your life. Just arrested and held forever. Who voted for that?
So shoot them all.
No, not shoot them all. Start shooting them until they get business out of politics and they start representing who we are instead of their money interests. Yeah, violence. That's the only way shit changes, man.
Okay.
Look at history. Tell me when a regime has changed with voting. I mean, I know.
I'm
I'm
not
putting you on the
trying.
spot. That's not fair because you haven't studied this stuff.
Well, no, I'm not trying to, murder politicians. I'm not trying to do what I don't like that others do that I would like to change, so I will shoot somebody because I'm pissed off that they're shooting somebody else.
Yeah.
It's not the way that I think, but that's fine. We think differently.
I think even if you don't want to shoot somebody, don't vote. Voting is you saying, complicitly saying, I support this system. and I don't support it anymore. I don't. We're killing people in Yemen. We're murdering like families in Yemen that aren't associated with any sort of terrorist thing. It was just an oopsie when we like kill a wedding party. And Obama, the fucking hope change guy, just refused to comment on it. That's cool. Do what you want. It's not going to change. Your voting is not going to change that. I know one way that it'll change. I can look at history and tell you this is the way things change. Look at whenever a black guy gets shot, it's like, oh, it's bad. If this is a riot, no one comments on it. Those things go under the radar. When there's a riot in Baltimore, it's like, hold on, we got to rethink the system here in Baltimore because people went crazy. That's just in history, here and elsewhere. That's the only way shit changes.
All right, we'll agree to disagree on that.
And I guarantee the only thing they're going to show from this clip is Ari Shaffir doesn't say Amy Schumer is the most funny comic in the world.
Go ahead, cuz.
I don't, like, I want to be very clear, and I'm being serious. Like, I don't condone violence. I just don't think that I know that in our beastly nature, especially what we've shown in certain instances in the past, have shown that this is the way that things change, but I just can't condone it. And perhaps, and this is a different way that I was going to go with this conversation, perhaps this just shows why you can't why a country can't be founded on racist, violent principles backed by religion. Think about it. Our countries, a lot of these colonizing countries were founded on violence. So when you create something, it's almost, you ever heard the term where it's like how you got them, like talking about relationships with certain girls and guys, like how you got them is the way that you lose them. It's the same thing here. Like how you get your country could potentially be the only way for things to change and perhaps for something else to move in your country. Because when it's hard to argue when he's saying, well, name another country or name another situation where things actually shifted without violence. Name another shift. We can definitely look up things and look at how, JFK dying shifted things. MLK shifted things. They're trying to take out Trump, would have shifted some things perhaps. We can look at these instances and say like, oh no, this shifted things, this changed things. Abraham Lincoln. When you have a country that is built on violent principles, and that's been the only thing that can shift it from one point to another, change its stance here and there, then I can understand how he's looking at it like that. And this is based on, this is what the leaders create. When you have a culture that's created by this type of leadership, what are the people at the bottom supposed to be? What are we the people supposed to think? What is our takeaway supposed to be? Now, I would approach it from a standpoint where it's like, hey, we got to destroy these politicians politically, not like physically, not take their lives. We got to get on board, unite, and understand like, hey, we have to cancel out these politicians in ways, but we can't use violence. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. All it's going to probably do is create more division. So the people who are ultimately in power are going to stay in power. And it's just going to just create a whole bunch of hatred, division, violence. So I want to be very clear. I don't think that it's not even that I don't think that we should go that route for moral issues. It's the moral issues as well as I just don't think that it works. I do not think that violence works. It may change things. You may get somebody else in power, but it's still going to be built on the wrong reasons. And they got in power for the wrong reasons. So now when somebody disagrees with them or doesn't like what they're pushing it, now the alternative is to do what? All right, so we'll murder this person. And we've seen that with a lot of countries. We've been involved in a lot of these regime changes where we think that, oh, if we just come in and now take out the person that we initially backed and put in power and supported, but now they're not doing what we want them to do, or now they're working and have a good relationship with China. So because they have a good relationship with China and they have the biggest oil reserves in the world, Venezuela, now we can just go in there and take all their stuff. And we think that that's not going to brew any animosity back towards America. Did we not read Obama? I was about to say, did we not read bin Laden's letter? Like, you can't put out negative demonic energy and expect that not to return. So whether you're doing it within your country or you're doing it to another country, ultimately you're still creating that energy that's going to brew and create a lot of these demonic situations, because now people are going to believe in it. But think about what do we hear our politicians talk about each other? He's Hitler. He's a Nazi. Listen to the rhetoric that Trump uses. Everything is almost given the green light to violence, but it's said in a way where I didn't push for that. You know, when you call somebody Hitler, when you call somebody a Nazi, when you call Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor, when you say all these things, when you speak about Muslims, there was something I just saw somebody running for Congress. I'm not sure if I played that video yesterday or if I did it in a separate thing. But the lady running for Congress in Texas said, yeah, her main point was, I'm going to make sure that these dirty Muslims don't get anywhere in life. And I'm going to make sure that Muhammad never rapes your daughters. Like, this is the type of energy that's just created when you built a country and a culture on this type of rhetoric and this type of violence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm glad to let you speak first because it allowed me to get a more well-rounded approach. But that's true. You know, how you get them is definitely how you lose them. And when we do resort to violence, it just shows our naiveness, but also our childness in not being able to hold a high-level conversation and not get to an emotional state. And I think that's what we have to get down to the roots of it. It's like, why are grown people being put in charge of other people and families, and the American people also the people that don't know how to communicate at a high level?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can't keep putting people in power that don't possess the skill of having a debate or having a conversation that maybe they don't agree with or align with. We keep putting people that know how to sell us that they're the person to vote in, but then we need to test their skills on, do they have that same courage and backbone when they go into these conversations with certain places? Because everything can't be, oh, they're going to bomb us. Do you know how many bomb scares we've had since we've been born?
Yeah.
As if cats really just want to go drop a nuclear bomb.
Right.
That's not happening. Nobody want that. So we can get off of that being the excuse of why certain things are happening, or we don't want Iran, etc. Like, dog, that's not what nobody really on that type of time. But that doesn't allow you to just get away from just having a conversation and how do we move forward. But all people that are elected in these positions of representing people have to all have the same approach. You can't get people who say we the chosen people and think, okay, well, I'm gonna go no, you can't be in charge because you don't know how to act. We gave you a freedom and it was to represent your people, and look what you've done with it. You're taking life. Like, we have to get rid of that approach of it being that's the only way that people know how to have conversation. And to be quite honest, I think the equalizer would be just putting people in a position where all these cats who like to talk all this shit, they need to go talk that shit to them. Go talk to the people you got the beef with and hash it out. Don't get our military involved. Don't get these tariffs involved. Don't get my American people involved. You go handle that conversation that you got smoking beef with. And if you don't come back with what you sought after to achieve, then we gonna look at you a type of way, and you might have to go make the walk of shame. And we're gonna get you out of there and put somebody else that knows how to go in and have a debate and conversation at a high level that doesn't require somebody to lose their dad. That's what we on, because politician, you can't have immunity to knowing what you do when you don't want to talk certain things out with certain people. And so the culture has been that. And he definitely said some things that aren't wrong in there. There ain't been no change.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't changing. Y'all not allowing it to change. We always got to get some type of scandal. Something always got to be a Epstein file. There's always something.
Mm-hmm.
You've lost the trust of your people. You want immigrants to come in here. This is an American. You wonder why the Colombians ain't taking pride. Look, these are the American people. When they speaking like that, what you think the Colombians gonna say? Et cetera, et cetera. So it does make it a very tough situation.
So, and I want to address a couple people saying that violence does work. They said 1776 worked, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and then we have World War II worked. This is not to highlight or to go against Tom. Appreciate Tom giving the info. The fact that we think that let's start with World War II, that it worked. What did it work to accomplish? I don't even think most people are aware of how many people actually died in World War II. I know that I wasn't aware. How many? 85, around perhaps 80 to 85 million people died in World War II. Do I need to repeat that again? I know we tend to focus on the 6 million Jews, right? But this is the numbers that I'm looking at. 70 to 85 million people died. And we're saying that it worked. What exactly did it work to accomplish? What exactly what do we mean that it worked? Let's go to 1776, the Revolutionary War. We're in America saying that it worked. I'm pretty sure that the British people, they don't think that it worked. So perhaps that's just an example where you had a colonizing country, let's say with Britain, right? Britain had, they were, wherever they took over, they colonized, let's say, right? So then what happened? They came over to America and America was tied into them, but then they lost America on the same type of violent situation that they probably colonized people with when they initially got to Britain or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that was probably won in a war. So then when we go on to what was the other one? The Civil War. Don't you think that, like, I wouldn't say that the Civil War worked. I would say that, did it accomplish certain things? Did it change certain things? Absolutely. But should we have used a totally different approach? I think that's the point that we're making. When you establish change based on violence, then people are only going to see violence as the way to solve these things. And I know we don't value losing lives as if that impacts us as a people, as humanity. But when you kill somebody, that's not a win. That's not resulting in a positive thing. But we don't look at it like that. Matter of fact, isn't that violating God's commandments? So how are we now winning by violating God's commandments, by killing other people to accomplish what? What exactly are we accomplishing? Like what worked about World War II? I'm very confused. Because if we have that mindset, then I guess we should just look at Palestine and Israel and just say, well, it's working. You know, it worked based on what? Accomplishing their goals of ethnically cleansing and committing a genocide? I guess you could say it worked, but does it work based on the values, the principles, and the integrity that we're supposed to stand by? Does it work based on following God's commandments that a lot of us religious folk tend to subscribe to when it's convenient, but then tend to look the other way when it's not convenient? So what exactly does that mean? Don't we realize that when we look at World War II, when we look at the Civil War, when we look at the Revolutionary War, and we have this mindset of embracing that it worked, doesn't that show that it failed? Like that's the failure in itself. The fact that we even look at World War II as something that worked. the fact that hopefully what I'm saying is coming across the right way and making sense. I got to wrap up again today because we didn't end up leaving yesterday. Shout out to Skeeg. My brother Skeeg, it was his birthday yesterday, so we decided to stay a little bit longer. But BK, I'm going to give you the last words on this point, and then we'll do our breathing exercise and wrap things up. But
yeah, and you know, we do have to shift that mentality. It gets ugly, and like we say, we can't say that we're we can't say that can't be an option is what we basically saying. Same way that we say Costco, figure it out. Like we have to apply the same application when it comes to that. The figure it out can't be a death. Like you just can't, that's just not it. And so just because you don't have a better way doesn't mean that there isn't another way. We just, for some reason, have not found it or bought into another strategy in order to accomplish change without it always being somebody losing their dad or their child or their mother and just chopping it up like, oh, this is what has to happen. Yeah, until it's your family, until it's you. Nobody is subscribing to, everybody subscribes to war as long as they're not the ones in it. Everybody's okay with their country going to war as long as the ones they're not in it. And so we have to take a heartbeat. We have to take an empathetic approach to understanding it doesn't matter what side we are on with this convo. I don't want to see one life is a life that one less life that we want to see, period, across the board, regardless of what side that you're on. Just because I'm with the Giants and we with the Cowboys, just because we say injuries happen in football doesn't mean I'm warranting an injury to the starting quarterback of the opposing team. That's not the way that we approach the sport, with integrity, with respect. So if we don't approach it that way, we have to find that there has to be better and more up-to-date software updating strategy to have conversations when there is conflict. And the role can't be drop a bomb and grab a drone, because now we're getting further and further away from what war used to be when you were standing on business. Business used to be, yo, I'm getting in the mix. Now it's like, go drop a drone. Like, now we got bitch ass motherfuckers doing this shit. Like, now we just, we can stand in the crib and just use our controller. Like, okay, like, we taking lives from a remote control now. Like, cats is getting extra energy that wouldn't have if they had to go down there. And so if we want war, it's got to be done in a fashion where you're willing to lose your life, not the military's, not somebody else's dad's life. I want to get away from that. If you got a problem with your neighbor, go handle it. But don't go send your child to go handle your business. And that's what I don't like about the approach of it.
Yeah.
So
I got to add this 20 seconds. Do we think that God made it a violation to his commandments, or made it a violation to kill just cause? Or do we think that, do people think that they should just follow that commandment because they're just going to get into heaven? Or do you think that it's a commandment based on when you commit death, you put out a certain energy that impacts the entire world that's going to build on that? So that's what I just would like to leave people with. But to each their own. So we're going to wrap up. Definitely appreciate all y'all rocking with us. Do me a favor, like. We're getting ready to get into our breathing exercise, which is a box breathing technique. 4-second inhale, a 4-second hold, and we do a 4-second exhale and a 4-second hold. And we're very intentional as far as the inhale in the positive, empowering, light energy. Use it as, think about it as we're charging that light within us. We're charging that battery, and everything negative we're releasing on our exhale. So everything that's limiting, that's taken away from us becoming the best version of ourselves, that's what we're going to exhale on. So if you're in a safe place, close your eyes, and let's begin that 4-second inhale now. Ready? Begin. Hold. Release. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Release. Hold. Inhale positive energy. Hold. Release that negative. Hold. And on this next inhale, let's be very intentional. Inhale this energy, charge that light inside of you. Ready, begin. Hold, keep holding. And this is going to be our last exhale, which we're focusing and being very intentional with releasing that limiting negative energy. Let it out. Hold. All right. Y'all know what we come here to do, man. Elevate on purpose, challenging ourselves to raise our standards, to become the best leaders we can become, and to grow into the people that we need to grow into in order to accomplish these amazing goals that we set for ourselves. Strength and honor, onward and upward, get to that bag. The bag is focusing on all the little things, quote unquote, that we're doing throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, that are ultimately going to create the impact that we're going to have on this world that we like to refer to as our personal legend. All right. The things that I focus on in my bag are peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and in everything we do, integrity. And of course, we got to have that balance. All right. These are going to be the things that serve as guardrails in my North Star to making sure that I'm as effective and efficient in living in my purpose and striving for that purposeful abundance. So Appreciate y'all as always. Let me make sure that hold on. Unc said, remember, real life does not mean that we have to live in a Tom Clancy novel. Shout out to Tom. And Tom, let's keep going. Tom, please come back tomorrow because I'd love to continue this conversation because this is going to be a reoccurring theme. Definitely appreciate the insight that you gave to us, man. We appreciate it. Steve said we must understand our true enemy, learn their tactics, connect the dots, and position ourselves outside of that plan. Let's definitely, Finn said, never a truer word spoken, BK. So let's continue to build on this conversation tomorrow. Antonice, love you, sis. Talk to you later. Have a fruitful and productive day. Finn wrote, integrity is the quiet strength that earns respect long before you ever speak. Stand true, even when no one's watching. Strength and honor. And on that note, shout out to Robert. On that note, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Peace.